Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at mrdirk.com.
Seven assists in 2 games. Connor McDavid, the captain, comes back into the lineup and wills this team across the finish line and into the postseason. What a couple of performances from number 97. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We are live, this post-game edition on YouTube and on Twitter and on Twitch for some reason. Looking forward to a great show tonight. Jason Strudwick about to hop in here. We got Chris Sabunia, who is a stinky, sweaty, smelly mess. We'll tell you why. And, of course, Rob Brown will join us in just a little bit. Struddy, our show is always brought to the good people by our friends at Play Alberta.
When you gamble, use your game sense. Play Alberta makes it easy to set deposit limits, time limits, and more, so you can play casino games and bet on sports safely, securely, and responsibly. Everything you need to know is at playalberta.ca.
All right, we're off to a great start, buddy. That ad read was tight. That was tight. I got a good feeling it's going to be a good show. And I am coming at you from the mobile Adrenaline Diesel Studio. Struds?
Now with an online store for all your diesel truck part needs, check out adrenalinediesel.ca.
Oh, 2 for 2, buddy. 2 for 2. We're cooking in the early going here. Now, as we say hi to Chris Sabunia as well. Zuby, I'm going to do 2 things here.
Yes.
We're going to shame you. We're going to shame you because it has to happen. But we're also going to let you thump your chest because of your performance tonight. So, Struds, I'm not sure if you know why we were a little later tonight, Struds. Zuby, I'm going to let you kind of tell the story here. You dropped the ball big time earlier today and then totally picked it up for your game tonight.
I agreed to play in a hockey tournament for a friend of mine. I got on my team here, his 40th birthday tournament, and then it turned out I might have not noticed that the Oilers had a game tonight. Steve couldn't do the show because it's his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Steve, and Brownie, of course, yesterday. So I said, well, I'll play this game. It's a 7:45 Pacific time puck drop, and I just won't really see the Oiler game and everything will work out. Except I was looking up my schedule on my iCal, which puts Oiler games in at Mountain Time. So I had it at 7:30, thinking that was 7:30 Pacific time. The timing was all off. It was still going to work out until I walk in the building for my game, and the game that's on the ice before us, which is supposed to have maybe 6-7 minutes left in the third period, has 3 minutes left in the first period because they broke a pane of glass, and they're fixing. It took them half an hour to fix the broken pane of glass, so we were way behind. So it was a terrible go for me, but I totally redeemed myself with an 18 save shutout in a 10-0 massacre of whoever these guys were that we were playing. Nice fellas. They were a little bit outmatched by our team, and we got it done. But the blowout helped me because we ran straight time for the third period, so I got out there about 5 minutes faster. And that's my story. And I didn't shower. I'm disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the quality of team you're playing against, you could laid your equipment in the crease and probably still would have won 10-5.
I would say I had 2.5 challenging saves.
Does that include warm-up?
Warm-up was over. I don't warm up anymore, Struddy. It takes too much out of my gas tank to warm.
I love it. When's the next game? Tomorrow?
You totally redeemed yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, when's the next one? What do you
got?
What's next?
Tomorrow afternoon.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Afternoon, yep.
Okay. Well, we forgive you. We're up and rolling. We're not too late here.
It worked. It worked
And
out
we're
as well as it could
ready to
have, and
rock and roll. Yeah, it
I
worked out good.
apologize to you guys and to our loyal viewers, of course, as well.
Yeah, had to wait a little bit longer, but that's okay. We're up and running, rocking and rolling now. So we need to talk about injuries first and foremost. Just finished in the media availability a few minutes ago with Chris Knobloch. So get everybody up to speed on what he had to say. And we'll break down the game as well, Struddy, in our breakdown brought to you by the Alberta Ram dealers.
It's a Ram Motor Trend celebration event. Lease a 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab for only $139 weekly at 2.49% for 42 months. See your Alberta Ram dealer today.
Okay, so to Oiler fans' horror on a night where they're already without Leon Draisaitl, already without Trent Frederick, already without Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch more. Wallman not in the game tonight, and then in the first, I don't know, 10 minutes of the game, Mattias Ekholm on the night that he returned Struds, he done. And then Zach Hyman later on leaves the game. Like, buddy, what are you thinking when you're watching that?
Well, I have major concern because you're getting fairly deep into the season. I mean, that's an understatement here. And, now you have, to me, a newer guy in Hyman being out. And I don't know if that was something that had been going on for a while or what. And then, Ekholm comes back and then he leaves after just playing a short amount of time. So, are these, you know, are they going to be ready for the playoffs? We as recently as a couple of days ago, I felt that my understanding was everyone would be healthy for game one of the playoffs. Now it sounds like that's changing, and I'm becoming more apprehensive for Oilers fans to think we're going to see the whole band playing together in game one of the playoffs.
Yeah, they're probably not going to be. So here's what Knobloch said to us post game. He wouldn't say which player, but between Mattias Ekholm and Zach Hyman, I asked if what he knows at this point has led him to be concerned that they might not be ready for the start of the playoffs. And he said, yes, one of them could potentially not necessarily be ready for game one. He didn't say which one. I asked. I said, you wouldn't tell us which one by chance? He said, no. So we know one of those guys is potentially in jeopardy for the start of the postseason, which is so not ideal for this team. Either one of those guys would be a tough, tough loss. Ekholm in particular, my goodness. So, we will see. It was weird with Ekholm, Struds? I mean, I'm not sure how much, they showed on TV, but I mean, he fell the one time and then kind of hobbled a little bit as he got up. And then he fell a second time and then kind of skated to the bench. They fixed his skates up a little bit and then ended up going down the tunnel. So it almost looked to me, Struds, like he had a bad wheel and hurt himself when he fell.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I felt the same when I saw Leon step on the puck. Remember the same game that he left? Like it's what happens is it's unpredicted, sorry, it was a surprise. These are surprise things. You don't expect to tumble in that way or fall in that way. And you can kind of injure yourself in those moments because you're not prepared for it. So, I mean, it could be then. I don't know, but I don't also know what the previous problem was either, why he wasn't playing. So is it related? Did he have a sore groin before? Did he have a hamstring issue, a knee tweaked, ankle? If you said it was broken hand and you see that, it's something different, but maybe it's something similar to what he had, or it just works on it. So this is why I have concern about what's going on. Because if one of those two guys is not playing to start, and say Knobloch talked about Trent Frederick most likely not being ready either for game one, that's quite a bit of big body, good players and playoff players not in your lineup for game one. And, the Kings, they're going to be ready to go.
Yes, they will. Yeah. So, I mean, the team, they're going to have a day off tomorrow. Then they travel. They play Sunday in Winnipeg. They play back here Monday against the LA Kings, and they wrap up the season. So, they're gonna hit the playoffs, as healthy as they can be. But it's going to be interesting to see just how many of those guys are going to be good to go, Struds. Let's focus a little bit on the game here, in particular, Connor McDavid. So do you remember a few shows ago, Struds, we were talking about, the Calgary Flames being 6 points back, and I think there was 5 or 6 games to play. and how it was sort of like some of the fans were a little bit like, yeah, they just didn't like that feeling. Well, I don't think Connor McDavid loved that feeling either. So when he shows up to the rink and Nugent Hopkins isn't good to go and Wallman's banged up and there's all this, mayhem in the lineup, he kind of had a bit of a hold my beer moment here over these last two games, wouldn't you say? Like, don't worry, I got this, hold my beer.
Yeah, I mean, a good captain or a captain knows when he's needed to lift his team up. And right now, this team, let's just call it what it is. They're decimated by injuries. We haven't really used those types of words, but they are. They have a real problem with injuries right now. And like I said just earlier, I feel that my concern for the injuries has gone up massively in the last 3 hours compared to where it was even yesterday. So he felt he needed to come back and help his team, and he's played really well. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And his line mates are, they're doing what they can. The power play looks a lot better with him on there, although it's not a complete finished portrait, that's for sure. But right now, I feel like he came back and said, "Okay, I'm going to help the team, try to get some points, try to keep us going, and try to feel decent as we head into the last week of the play of regular season, and then hopefully I can get a bunch of help back." Because I'll use the word, they are decimated by injuries right now. Decimated.
Oh, it's crushing. Like they're crushed with injuries right now, Struds. It's really something to be reasonably healthy through a big chunk of the year. And they've had good injury luck the last couple of seasons here. And now it's kind of all catching up with them, and they're definitely in a tight spot. Just a heads up for you, buddy. I'm on my way back into Sherwood Park, driving safely, hands free, doing the show. But you remember like a week and a half ago, there was a check stop. Well, there's another one tonight. I don't
Okay.
know if I'm going to get pulled over into it. If I do, then you can steer the ship on your own for 5 or 6 minutes while I do whatever needs to be done. But just literally heads up for you there, bud.
Good to know. Good to know. I'm ready to go here. Zuby and I'll take it.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so McDavid comes back, 7 assists in 2 games. And as Knobloch pointed out tonight, Struts, the one goal that's been scored since he's been back that he didn't get
Yeah.
an assist
Yeah.
on, it was on a delayed penalty that he drew. So he has been all over every single offensive moment since his return. And I can't help but wonder with Hyman. I mean, he 0 points in 6 games here for Zach Hyman. And then Knobloch said there wasn't any specific moment where he left the game because of like
Yeah.
any incident that happened in the game. It really leads you to believe that he was probably playing his way through something, um, over the last little bit here, Struds, for, the way he leaves like that.
When he said that, I heard ding, 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 ding. Like something was
Yeah.
going off in my head because it's if there's nothing specific that happens, it's just over the, it looked like he maybe got pushed or jostled that may have aggravated or intensified the feeling. That happens sometimes. You're like, you're not great, you're getting treatment for it, and then something happens and just maybe pushes you over the edge. You're like, I don't think I can do this right anymore. Or is it worth doing anymore? I'll take it. I'll take the pause and try to get healthy. And your point's well made about the lack of production by Hyman. I don't remember him having a lot of great chances even in the last 3 weeks, right? There haven't been
Hmm.
a ton of that. So he steps away, and now the big guy Ekholm steps away, and you're trying to figure out what to do. So the team is, I think that the guys are left are really trying. They're and not that they aren't trying elsewhere, but like the fourth line today, that was maybe the best line a fourth line has put together for the Oilers this year. I thought that they were excellent today. They look fast, they look
Yeah.
big, they look physical. Like there's a lot of things to praise in their game. And myself, and I think Brownie to a point have been critical of Mac Jones, but I feel that the last couple of games he's starting to find it. He's using his speed, he's using his big body and hitting and getting in there, and those are all things that he has to do. He has to do those things, and no
Hmm.
Philp, maybe he's the guy that's kind of helping balance that out because he and Kapanen are fast. Not that Max Jones is slow, but those three guys, Shaugger, I thought that they really impacted this game in a positive way. And you can see like they got a shift of 3 minutes left in the game, a fourth line.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great point, Struds. I feel like they're playing like they understand that there are bodies coming back into the lineup soon, and every one of them can do math. they all know that they're going to have to do something significant, and noticeable to not just automatically be out of the lineup. Because really, if you think about those players, I mean, if the Oilers have anywhere close to a healthy lineup, you could argue none of those players are in the lineup. But they're playing the game in a way to get noticed and to make the decisions difficult for their head coach, which that's what you want to see from those guys right now. Not just reading the tea leaves and rolling over.
Yeah, no, well said. And I think, you know, your point's well made, Shaugger, but those three guys get stroked out of this lineup as soon as it's healthy. And that's so what I
Yeah,
think they're playing for. Although your point is well made, I think they're playing for being the first person who gets to come back in, or, I think they're
exactly.
trying,
Yeah.
like, we want a different look. We want more speed or more size or whatever it is, or we want another, or not a center that can, it's a right hand center. So I think that's what they're working for because I mean, you get, all these guys back, they're going to come, but they were very effective tonight. And I think that's a really important step because now, as you say, when they get closer to the end, he's like, God, I can't believe I have to take these guys out. So I've heard this story before. They'll bring you over and say, listen, you're playing well. Unfortunately, this is where on the lineup, but stay ready because you will get a chance to play in this round. And that's what a player wants to hear. An extra or a guy who's on the fringe wants to hear that. So they'll stay ready. When they get in, they'll be ready to contribute because they should feel good about their game. And I expect the next 3 games, they should bring it the same way so that they are playoff ready when I don't think they'll start. Again, I don't know the injury situation, what's going to be in game 1, but they probably won't start, but they will want to get to say, I'm the one that gets the call. Give me the call, coach.
Calvin Pickard, not a perfect night. He was the first to admit that. Said if you judge him by that first goal, not great. But another game, Struds, where it's a tight game, it's hanging in the balance, and he is required to come up with a couple of big moments, in the last 10, 15 minutes of a game. And Pickard, once again, just finds a way to be on the right side of those late game moments. So not spectacular, not amazing or anything, but just really good when it really mattered in that game.
Yeah, it wasn't he good? And this is something that's it feels like it's just, I go back to my notes. Pickard good, Pickard good, Pickard good, Pickard. Like, it's like this guy is really um over delivering this year on his contract, on expectations. Like, this is crazy considering where he was 3 years ago. So here he is, having these big moments for a team that is devastated by injuries. I'll keep using that. They are devastated by injuries. And he's keeping this team alive because their starting goalie isn't there and his game wasn't quite all dialed in. So now, it sounds like they'll play Skinner twice. I'm guessing the Kings game will probably be for Pickard on the back to back, and then at this point I'm not sure who the starting goalie is for game 83. I think you made the case that it could be Pickard. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going
Yeah.
to fight anyone. If you tell me it's Pickard for game
Yeah.
1, great. If it's Stu Skinner, great.
Yeah. So we're going to save that discussion
Okay.
for the next segment because that is a big discussion that, to me, got made a lot bigger with some of the calls that were made today and with Skinner starting. So we'll definitely get there. Zuby, do you have any sense on Brownie, how his timeline looks, buddy? Has he reached out at all?
Haven't heard anything yet, but I can shoot him a message and see where he's at.
Yeah. Shoot him a text and then let me know. Strud, in the meantime, let's take care of some of our other business here. Let's get to our relentless player of the game, brought to you by our great charitable partner over at UCAN Youth Services.
Are you looking to hire entry-level staff for your company? UCAN Youth Services trains youth in pre-employment skills to help them get them ready, willing, and able to join your team. Check out www.ucan.ca for more information right now. Fourth line. I'm going with the fourth line. Honestly, I thought that they were so good today. Just shift after shift after shift. They were in there. They had some chances to score. And I think that impact is huge because now it lengthens out your lineup. When you lose as many top end players as they have recently, that kind of usually shrinks your lineup. But now when those guys are playing like they are, it makes your lineup longer and you can keep using more of your team for longer in the game rather than saying, let's get down to 3 lines quick or 2.5 or whatever. So give those guys credit. I thought they were excellent today. Really, like, that was the best, I believe, fourth line we've had performance this year by the Oilers.
Yeah. So listen, relentless player. It's close to our hearts. We love you, Ken. There's a lot of integrity in this segment, Struds, and seldom do I ever push back. I let you pick
Oh,
it, and seldom do I ever push back. I try and let you have ownership over this thing, but
go on.
you've been going with a lot of large groups lately. I think at one point you gave it to the whole team. I think at one point you
Yeah.
gave it to like all of the forwards. And I don't mind that. But I mean, I'm going to nudge back a little. Like Connor
Okay.
McDavid had 4 assists tonight. I mean, are you sure? Do you want to rethink that
Mhm.
at all, or are you going to stand by the fourth line
So
on a
let
night where the captain had 4 assists?
okay. So let me put this. We've seen Connor McDavid have big nights before. We haven't seen the
Mm-hmm.
fourth line have a line like
Mm-hmm.
this year.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. And hey,
So
it makes sense. I understand. I feel for the integrity of the segment. I think it was necessary for me to challenge you a little bit, but you make a good
no,
point.
that's fair.
And as I said, Struds, I'm not going to I'm not that. I'm not that guy. I almost used the word boss. I didn't want to big time both of you guys. I almost used the word boss there. I mean, I could because I am, but I didn't say it. But I'm not going to
No,
micromanage you tonight. So you get to make the call.
no, and I get it. And I listen. Connor was excellent today, but I've seen Connor do that before, and that's maybe a bit unfair. But this group,
Mm-hmm.
they needed this. This fourth line, the team needed this fourth line to produce tonight. Especially when
Mm-hmm.
Hyman went down. You're shrinking this lineup. It's getting short, man. It's crazy. You think about you're
Yeah.
missing, 3 of your top 6 forwards. 3.
Yeah.
That's crazy to have
Okay.
that many people
That
out.
was our relentless line brought to you by UCAN Youth Services. We gonna have the golf fight now on air, Struds. The golf fight that you and I have been having on text message, me, you, and Scott McNabb from De Boers. Um, I don't know. I don't love to air it out publicly, but I almost feel
No,
like you need to be taken to task a little bit on your thought process here.
no, but let's lay it out then. Like I feel very comfortable in my debate.
All right. So Doobie, I'm going to lay out a few facts, and
Here we go.
I
I
love
mean, I'd be
facts.
interested what people on the what people I know you love facts, what people on the poll think. So Struds, feel free to interject if I will try and lay out the facts as you will agree with them, Struds.
Yep. Go
So
ahead.
there have been 4 golf competitions between Struds and I. There have been 2 rounds of 18 holes. Start to finish 18 holes. There has been a best of 7 uh, artificial green putting competition at De Boer's golf shop. And there was one day where we walked 7 holes in the pouring rain and mud together. So those were the 4 times that we have competed in golf. Struds
Mhm.
won. It's accurate so far, Struds?
golf,
We're good. We're
golf,
on track here.
golf related
Yeah.
competitions.
Yeah, clear. Yeah, it's clear to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll continue here. Struds won the 7 holes in the rain that we were just talking, barely even paying attention. It was raining so hard. Anyway, he won that. And he won the De Boers Golf Shop and Fitting Center putting green putt off, best of 7.
Mhm.
I won both of the 18 hole rounds that we have played head to head against each other. And this guy shows up on our group chat claiming that we're tied, which I cannot even, I just can't. I just can't. I need somebody to put this guy in check, Zuby.
Mhm.
So I know it's not going to be our listeners. They're all going to favor him. But Zuby, please, please.
Yeah, no, that's not equal. Shaugger, you're up. That's 2 to 0.8 or so. I don't know what those other 2 amount to, but I don't like you dismissing that the 7 holes in the rain that you guys were not not paying attention. But no, it's not the same. It's the 2 Shaugger's 2 wins are worth more in the clubhouse.
Okay. No. Let's just review the facts. When we were out in the rain, I didn't beat him. I absolutely annihilated him because I'm the grittier human being. It was like, I think, honestly, after 7 holes, I was like +2. He was, I didn't have room on the scorecard anymore. Fact 2, could we agree these are 4 separate events?
No, there were 2
They were
main
4.
events and 2 little novelty
No,
exhibitions.
they're 4. So, okay. So then we'll call it 4 exhibitions of skill.
No,
And
no, with
well,
such different weights to them.
you can't,
Like, not
you
every
can't
exam in
weight them.
college is worth the same, Struds. The
I'm,
rounds are like the final exam. What you won were like pop quizzes that were optional and open book.
so you agree they're wins. So I have 2 wins, just like you have 2 wins. So to me, the 4 exhibitions were equal. That's how I see it. And I think that's how most people on the stream will see it. So thank you for weighing in, everybody.
Yeah, please chime in.
You know what? I'll double it back. The putting challenge is equal. The unfinished round is not. So
whoa, what?
Okay, so
because that was a completed completed golf challenge, but it's still only 1.5. You're still winning, Shaugger. But the putting challenge is equal. That was a golf related challenge, so that counts as 1. But an incomplete round when you plan to play a full round, that doesn't count as a full.
No, I expected more from you in this debate, Zuby. I'm getting
You're getting
home,
your win. What do you want? You want a bigger win? You want a blowout?
No, I need a realistic size win, like that is in line with what I actually won. So I'm hanging up now. You guys finish the segment, and I'll hop on to my office.
All right, well, let's bring the poll in. It's amazing how I laid out the facts in 2 minutes and changed Zuby's mind. I mean, like that's amazing how quickly things change. So let's get into it. The YouTube poll brought to you by our good buddies at the Boers Golf Shop and Fitting Center, the center of all the controversy of our battles. The snow is finally gone and golf season is close. I've heard many driving ranges are opening up right away here. 2025 equipment is now fully loaded in the fitting carts. DeBoers is booking fittings 10 days in advance. Call now to get your spot. Get fit to play your best by the team dedicated to helping you play better golf. Visit them at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. I was there just this week. There was people in there grabbing bags, gear, getting clubs fitted, and there's an excitement about the thought of getting out and playing golf. Zuby, what do you got for us?
All right, so Oilers have clinched that round 4, the 4th time head-to-head with the Kings is looking very likely, not set in stone. They can catch Vegas, but it's looking very likely. So the question tonight is, if round 1 is Oilers versus Kings, to the stream here, what do you think the result is going to be? So the options are Kings in 4 or 5, Kings in 6 or 7, Oilers in 4 or 5, Oilers in 6 or 7. They went in the 3 years it went Oilers in 7, Oilers in 6, Oilers in 5. I when I was thinking last year they might rematch again, naturally it would be Oilers in 4, but I don't think it's going to be. I have a hard time believing it's going to be that, especially with LA having home ice and being so good on home ice.
So the top of this lineup is devastated by injuries. So what I'm guessing is that we will have to be patient and let the group get healthy. And so it favors the Oilers later in the series it goes, because maybe you get more players back. Let's assume that one of either Hyman or Ekholm are back to start the series and Frederick's not ready. So that's 2 really important players for this team that aren't back. Could they be back, 2 weeks from now? Could they back, 2.5 weeks? So that's game 4 or 5. Maybe the Oilers are down 3-1 then, or 2-2, whatever, right, Zub? Do you know what I'm saying? I think that this feels the longer the series goes, the better it is for the Oilers.
Yeah, I would agree. So how important is, a great goaltending performance and stealing one in LA in those first 2 games? How gigantic is that going to be for the Oilers if that's the case?
Oh, huge. Absolutely huge. And they need, someone's going to have to go off. The team as it is tonight, I don't believe they can beat the Kings in 7 games.
Yeah.
They can't. And that's, but you take out, your top center, 2 of your top centers, your top scoring winger, a big body on the, another big, so 4 of your top 9 forwards, 2 of your top 5 D men, and your starting goalie. You show me the team that can win. Who has depth like that? So if they don't get healthy, they will not beat the Kings. And that's a fact because the Kings are a good team.
Yes. And deep. I didn't see any of the injuries tonight. So if you're guessing, is the smart money in your mind on Ekholm, who's the one who is more injured?
I don't know. He came back. So I think maybe it's you know what, it could be. I have no idea. Maybe it will be him. But if you have to choose, it's like choosing your favorite kid. Like these are two really important
Very
players.
important, yeah.
So, would you rather have the solidifying D man that just seems to steady everybody, or the energetic forward that can score some goals on the wing beside Connor McDavid? Like, is there a choice C?
Yeah.
Where they both play. So crazy guys. Lots of time. Chime in here on the YouTube poll. We love. I like I said, I think the Oilers can win it, but it has to go longer. The longer the series goes, the better it is.
Right.
If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up or tell a friend to subscribe to the show. We love I love running into listeners. I've run into so many listeners this last week. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of people giving me a hard time about my insensitivity towards my friends' break-in at their cabin. And I stand by my comments, Zuby. So that's the way it goes.
I'd love if there were something else came out of it. If one or both of those photos ended up on Marketplace somewhere.
Oh, be crazy.
I'd love if this story has another chapter.
Yeah, we can recover those precious items for my buddies whose cabin was broken into. All right, let's check out here, Zoobs. Coming back, we got Brownie. We'll have Shaugger back on, and then we'll get into this goalie debate because it is a healthy one. Ooh. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm going to ride the fence here. I'm going to absolutely ride the fence, but we'll find out where Brownie and Shaugger stand, as well as Zuby next here on the big show.
Join over 250,000 Canadians who have upgraded to Canada's best mattress. Douglas is proudly made in Canada and ships directly to your door for free. Douglas is easy to set up. Enjoy perfectly balanced comfort and an easy-to-clean machine washable cover. Get a free sleep bundle with your Douglas mattress. Try risk-free for 365 nights. Get your Douglas mattress today.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolanddentistry.com.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
Welcome back, everybody. Jason Strudwick here. We got Zoobs. Brownie's joined us here as well. Let's dive into the world, dive into it. Takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. The YEG Motorcycle Show is coming this weekend at the Edmonton Expo Center. View the lineup of Can-Am on and off-road products, including the new Can-Am Pulse electric two-wheel motorcycle. While you're there, sign up for their demo days happening later this summer to test out your next ride. Martin Motorsports. Visit them online or at their 2 Edmonton locations. There we are, Shaugger and I cuddling on the car. Oh, there you are. Let's do it.
All right. I'm set up and ready to roll. Brownie, how you doing, pal? Brownie?
Speechless.
I had him muted. Try it now, Brownie.
Brownie, test 1, 2.
Can you hear me now?
We got you.
Hello?
We got you.
How are my
You
friends
there?
tonight?
Oh, there you go. Well, I tell you what, this friend is looking forward to our soiree tomorrow night. That's how I'm feeling. I'm excited to wrap this show up, get a good night's sleep, nice relaxing day tomorrow, 45 minutes on the elliptical, a nice little pre-party party with the Shaugers and Browns, and then an evening of mayhem at the Strudwick household.
I'm looking forward to it. All I got to do, I got a podcast to do, then I got to get up at 6 in the morning to go on the ice for 5 hours, but then I'll be ready for a night of partying with Shona, Randine, and their husbands.
Should be good. Has any kind of itinerary yet Shona's come up with, Struds, or still just going to play the whole thing by ear and leave it all to chance?
Yeah, you guys didn't get that yet? I sent it.
No.
All right. I sent it out.
There's an itinerary?
So, yeah.
Nice.
Check it. Check
Okay.
your mailbox.
Awesome.
Yeah. They'll be there.
Awesome. My stress level just went down. It's that's what every good party needs, a full point by point in 15-minute increments itinerary of the entire night. We'll report back on how that goes Sunday night after the Winnipeg Jets and Edmonton Oilers are ready to rock and roll. So Brownie, we talked a lot about the injuries. We've beaten that one to death so far on the show. I'll get your headlines on the game tonight. 7 assists in a couple of games here for McDavid. Oilers clinch a playoff spot. What do you come away from this whole thing thinking?
McDavid's ready for the playoffs. He looks good. Seriously, it's funny when I look at a team that plays against the Oilers. The first thing I look at in their lineup is who they have on defense that they're able to play against Connor and/or Leon. And then when you look at the San Jose Sharks team tonight, they've got some nice young players. They got a goaltender that played well, but they had no defensive pairing that they could put out against Connor. And I said before the game that Connor was going to have a big night. There's nobody that could even come close to containing him. He had 4 points, could have had 8 points. So Connor McDavid, everyone else that has come back from their injury has retweaked something and left. Connor McDavid's come back from his injury, and he looks even better than he was from before.
Yeah, he's really been something, and that's good news for the Oilers. Like he's looking as good right now as he has, pretty much through this season so far, and he's piling up the points at a clutch moment in time. And it'll be interesting to see, Struds. Do you play him the rest of the games here, or you think you just got to keep letting him go, or do you kind of let him make the call if he wants to take his foot off the pedal for that last game against the Sharks if there's nothing on the line?
Well, let's see what happens here the next couple of games. If they have a chance of catching the Kings, I have a hard time seeing how you don't put them out there against the Sharks. If it's decided by then you probably send, your HL team to play the Sharks.
Yeah, we definitely could see that.
I agree.
Okay, let's get into the goaltending scenario here, guys, because, Brown, we wanted to save this conversation for when you were here too. So I will admit, gentlemen, I was surprised when I got to practice today and was watching the two goalies warming up when Calvin Pickard skated down to the starter's net and Stuart Skinner went down to the far end. I was really surprised. I thought Stuart Skinner was going to play this game tonight. That was not the case. Calvin Pickard is set to go, meaning that Stuart Skinner's only going to get a couple of games between now and the end of the regular season. Let's hear the head coach from earlier on today. Asked him a couple of questions about the goaltending situation. It's brought to you by Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. Beat the rush on getting a new air conditioner for this summer. The team over at Weiss Johnson already busy with requests for AC, so do not wait. Specializing in servicing your existing mechanical system or installing new ones. Weiss Johnson here for all your home comfort needs. Visit weiss-johnson.com today. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Okay, Chris Knobloch on the decision to start Calvin Pickard and the situation with these guys heading in towards the postseason.
Chris, is the plan to get him into 2 starts the last 4 then?
Yes, the plan is for him to have 2 starts.
And what's your confidence level that after all this time off, in 2 starts, he can try and get his game where it needs to be here? Do you think he can?
I'm very confident. I've seen, we'll just talk about picks last year, not playing for 2 weeks and then coming in and playing very well in the playoffs or long period stretches. I think there's a lot of it, the technical side of it. Without playing the games, you got to hone in on those skills, the technical aspect of it, because you're spending more time practices. Games is obviously a big part of getting prepared, and he'll have a little test of that, 2 games, and then hopefully he can pick up and play very well for us.
And if he comes in and plays well and looks to be good, like he would be your guy going into the playoffs?
We are going to play the goalie that's playing the best and giving us the best opportunity to win that night.
You're muted there, buddy.
Play the goaltender that's playing the best and gives us an opportunity to win the game that night, Struds. That is not them backing their clear-cut starter. That's not saying Skinner's the guy, and as long as he's feeling good, he'll be the guy, Struds. What do you read into that answer and this plan of 2 starts?
Coin toss. That's what I'm hearing for game 83, man. Whoever's playing better gets in there. And that is not something I remember hearing from the coach, at all this year. It was like, Skinner's our guy, and this is what's going to happen. So, and then the interesting part is that technical work. He talks about the practicing, getting that technical time. That is something that is probably being pushed or talked about, by the goalie coach too, Knobloch, and with Skinner as well. Like they're open. They're like, hey, he's trying to clean up some things in his game. We think that an extra couple of practices is more valuable right now than game time. He's going to, I'm guessing he plays in Winnipeg, Pickard in LA, Brownie. And then if you remember last year, they went down to Colorado and he got speed bagged. The whole team did. And you could, because if it's pretty thin lineup, although I guess it's the Sharks. So, but I don't know. What do you think? What are you thinking, Brownie?
Well, I agree with what Knobloch said. I think that he's leaving it open that Pickard could start game 1 if there's any rust on Stuart Skinner's game, and it should be. Stuart Skinner, I think long term is the number 1 starter here, but has not had a fantastic year, and he's coming off an injury where he's been out for a while. I think the play of Pickard in Los Angeles and in Vegas on this past road trip really boosted the confidence that the coaching staff has on him going into the playoffs. He went into 2 really tough barns and had 2 very good hockey games. So I think in a perfect world, Stuart Skinner plays 2 of 3 and is outstanding. He plays game 1. But if there's any hiccups in his game, I think Calvin Pickard has proven. Like even the game tonight, this was the Sharks. It was not a team that they should lose to. But the Oilers couldn't extend the lead. So every save in the third period became important. And then no bigger saves in the very end of the game, the back post saves that he made. So I think Calvin Pickard, the way he played on this road trip, has elevated himself in the eyes of the coaching staff. And an injured Stuart Skinner is not being given the crease just because he's supposed to be the number 1 guy. And I think that's the right move.
Yeah, and if you think about the way this will play out, so you got Pickard starts tonight. Now you got back-to-backs against the Winnipeg Jets, who a little bit to play for, maybe, trying to seal up home ice advantage through the entire thing. And then the LA Kings. And we'll see how much that game means. We'll check the standings heading into that game and whether home ice advantage is, in fact, anywhere in peril at all for the Kings. But basically, I mean, it looks like Skinner's going to go against the Jets and the Sharks. And Calvin Pickard gets the start, Struds, against a potential first-round playoff opponent in a game that could be significant for home ice advantage, maybe. So I was shocked. I thought Skinner was going to get 3 games to close out the season, and there's a bit of breathing room within 3 starts. That would be giving your starter the time to work through it, Struds, with 3 starts to find his game. Now it's going to be 2. One of them is potentially meaningless against the Sharks at the end of the season here. This is not a lot of runway for Skinner to find it.
No, it isn't. But I don't see this. This is a conversation I think the goalie coach has to have. This is where you have to lean on your goalie coach and trust him. He knows the player. He knows what he needs. And I think this is clear. As I said earlier, they're prioritizing practice time over games for Stu Skinner at this moment, Brownie.
Yeah, I agree. But I go back to my point. I think that Pickard played so well in Vegas and in LA that he's earned the crease. Those were two big wins or two big games on the road that he was excellent in. And I just think the way that Stuart Skinner played before he was injured, he has not been the Stuart Skinner that we saw in the playoffs last year. And there's probably a little concern with the injury. To me, it's Stuart Skinner still has a chance to start game 83, but he's going to have to play well in Winnipeg. If he plays well in Winnipeg, that might earn him the spot. But Calvin Pickard right now, the way he's playing, he's been excellent. Tonight was the first goal I've seen that I can remember that Calvin Pickard should have had. There has been very few of those all season long. That's the kind of year he's had.
Avi Hoffman chimes in and says, Stu Skinner has more upside. We saw it Game 7 versus Dallas Stars, Game 6 in Western Conference Finals. So Abby leaning more towards Skinner for the experience and the high-end game in the high-end moments, with which Pickard hasn't had the opportunity to put out there. Yeah, this injury hasn't been ideal for Skinner, and it's changed the calculus a bunch. Them deciding, like, and he went hard at practice today. Like, he stayed out there for a long time, Struds. Did a lot of work. Draisaitl stayed out there with him. And they worked for a good 25-plus minutes after everybody else was off. So he clearly was ready, but prioritized getting that practice time in. And so, you know, we'll see. We'll see how good his game looks when he gets back in, how sharp he is. And I just find it fascinating that we're in a moment here where we're not getting, you know, where they're not backing him as for sure their guy heading into the postseason, which a couple of months ago, you know, I didn't necessarily think that we'd be in this place, Struddy.
No, for sure. And I mean, there's a lot of things right now about this lineup that are uncertain. And Brownie, you weren't on, but like my concern for the Game 1 playoff lineup has heightened a ton right now. It's between Frederick and then one of these two guys, Ekholm and Hyman, being probably not one of them not playing, likely is what coach said. And then you got, you know, the goaltending debate. You know, there's a lot of concern here for me with this group. So you're trying to dial in at one thing at a time. And I do think if Skinner plays well in these two games, he starts Game 1. If he has if he's a little bit wishy-washy, it's Pickard. To me, it's that clear. It's not so much Pickard does, it's what Skinner does or doesn't do.
Yeah, I agree with that, Struds. And, well, he's going to get a good opportunity. He's going to be playing against a very good Winnipeg team with a very depleted lineup. So Skinner is going to have an opportunity to shine. That'll be a tough one. But in Game 1, as you said, there could be a number of players out of the lineup. So which goalie gives you the better shot to win? I mean, in all honesty, it always should be that way. Just most team starters are the ones that give their team the better chance of winning. Right now with the Edmonton Oilers, as you said earlier, Struds, it might be a coin flip on which goalie gives you the better start.
You're muted again there, Shaugger. You're on your...
Damn it, sorry. I sneezed and muted myself. That's twice tonight, my bad. All these injuries piling up towards the end of the season here. Lines and pairs not getting an opportunity. D pairs. They've been all over the place. Like, Brownie, this is so not ideal coming down the stretch to have everything in chaos like this. And then potentially for, 80% of it to come together for Game 1, maybe another piece or two for Game 2, 3, or 4, or whatever. For it to have all been in flux this long, this is going to take a really calm veteran team to steady itself and not be too affected by all of this lineup mayhem this late.
Well, that's a good thing for Oiler fans is this is a calm veteran lineup that they have. I don't think this will affect the team. I really don't. I think this is a group that believes whoever dresses that night is capable of winning hockey games. They've got the best player in the world, and they also have the player on their team who we believe Leon will be back, who is having the best season in the world this year. They have the confidence that it's an LA team that they have beat the last 3 years. They have the confidence to know that they don't actually have regular lines anyway, so does it really matter if they don't know who their line mates are for Game 1? They don't know who their line mates are period to period. So is it ideal? No. Is my concern high because of it? Not really. As long as they get healthy, I don't care if their first game together as a full group is game one of the playoffs. But they do need a healthy Ekholm in the playoffs. They do need a healthy Wallman, a healthy Leon, a healthy Hyman. This is a team that can beat up the San Jose Sharks and the Anaheim Ducks if they only have half their lineup. I don't know if they can beat the LA Kings at a 7-game series with as many players out of the lineup as they have now.
For the D-men, it's not that big a deal they're not having steady partners. I really don't. I think that it's only two of you, and you kind of know what each other's doing. And you can sit, even if you're not playing, you can watch and say your buddy plays and understand how he plays. So I don't see that as big as a deal. I think the forwards is a bit bigger of a deal. But what might be crazy and what we see play out is let's just say everyone's healthy for game one. It might feel like, okay, we're fully loaded. This is our team. Let's just go and start kicking ass. Or the other thing is, Brownie said they might not have everyone right away. So the longer the series go, and maybe the deeper in the playoffs it goes, the better it goes, because you get healthy guys back, but also guys like Kane and Frederick can find their touch or their feel in this group. So, if let's say the first series goes 4 games, I don't think that's good for the Oilers.
Yeah. So the concern, that I talk about not having a chance to get their lines together and finish as a group and getting some cohesion, it takes a back seat, I agree, to the simple fact that it appears there could be multiple players, Struds, who are like an awkward stride or a bad fall or, whatever we saw with Ekholm tonight, away from tweaking existing injuries. How many of these guys are actually heading into the playoffs, quote unquote, healthy? And we're seeing guys come back, and it lasts less than a game. It lasts a few shifts. Now, granted, the standard to pull yourself out of a game right now is probably a lot lower, right, Struds? Any sort of tweaks and stuff, these guys are probably being extra careful. But still, there's a lot of guys who are right on the precipice of like one bad thing, and boom, multiple things that could crop up for you. And I just don't know. I don't think it's always like that at this time of year with this many guys.
Well, I think that's it. I think that it can be like this, but not this many players and not your best players. That's what the scary thing is. It's your best players that are doing it, or having it happen to them. So, I'm looking at Draisaitl. The guy can play through anything. So, and he's playing on a sprained ankle, which is mind blowing. So, I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. Him and Connor are going to be fine. Then, I'm worried about Hyman. I'm worried about Ekholm. I'm worried about Frederick. I'm worried about Kane. Wallman, doesn't sound huge, but still I don't know what his capacity to play through an injury is. So I think it does worry you. But what if they got 8 or 9 nights, let's say, till the playoffs? Let's say they start next Saturday or Sunday. What is that? 7 sleeps. How much can they heal in 7 days? And I think that's priority number one. Healing is the biggest thing they got to do, Brownie.
100%. It's funny, and this is when earlier this month, Shaugger had the thing where we talked about what's your lineup for game one and who the favorites in the playoffs are. And to me, you can't do those things until you see what teams go in with good health and which teams go into the playoffs injury. And it's funny right now, and you wonder if the Four Nations tournament has anything to do with it. You look at all the top players around the league that are either injured or sitting out right now. Colorado, Makar, and McKinnon are out right now. Kachuk's out in Ottawa. Kachuk's out in Florida. The Oilers got 8 guys out. And there are guys that were at that tournament that the amount of work that they've had to put in and they didn't get a break would affect them. But the other thing, and you know as well as I do, Struds, when you go off ice for as long as the guys that didn't play, it's easy to tweak things when you come back. You went from in perfect mid-season shape to sitting on a beach for 10 days to coming back and pushing it in a playoff race. That's how you get tweaks. That's how you pull groin. That's how you pull hip flexors. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but there are a lot of really good players right now that are out of the lineup. And to me, game 83, the first game of the playoffs for the Oilers, how they do in the first series will depend on who they have playing in that first couple of games.
All right. Lots to keep an eye on moving forward. That was Takeaways brought to you by our friends over at Martin Motorsports. When we come back, Brownie Points, Struddy's World. Ask us anything. We got a great number on the stream tonight, so thank you so much for joining us. Plenty of content still ahead on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta. Right back.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit belvederegcc.com today.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
All right, as we wait for Brownie to hop inside and get on camera, let's hit a scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. The all-new CC Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at 58%, their highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date. It's a full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak with that butterscotch finish. Struds, what else was going on out there tonight?
Absolutely huge game. Flames beat the Wild. I was watching this one kind of the same time I was watching the Oilers game. Massive win for these guys. 4-2. This keeps their chances alive in the playoffs, which is obviously really important to them. Flames are now 3 points behind both the Blues and the Wild. They have a game at hand on both teams. They have 2 games, the big boys, and the Flames have 3. So it could be a real fight right to the end. Pretty exciting for Flames fans. 2 Canadian teams going at it. The Canadians lost to the Senators, so that kind of gives some hopes to a team like the Red Wings, who won 4-3 over the Lightning. And then the Penguins take down the Devils 4-2. So big night if you're a Flames fan. Big night.
All right. Yeah, you've been... I know your buddy Ryan Huska behind the bench there. You've been singing the Flames praises for a little bit here. I think it would be cool to see that team scrap and claw their way into it. Pretty amazing what St. Louis did to get themselves where they are. But would be good to see the Flames in there this year with Huska in that group, Struds.
Yeah, and so the Wild go into Vancouver tomorrow. The Vancouver's won 2 in a row. And the Wild are off to a back-to-back. Now they do pick up an hour going the other way, but that's not a tap in that game for the Wild. So if it goes sideways, there's the good. It's not 1,000,000 to 1. There's a chance. It's decent chance for sure.
Yep, you're saying there is a chance. Definitely. That was our scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. Zuby, let's go to Struddy's World, shall we? Let's roll the animation.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good. Yes, it is time for Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products, Alberta's #1 vinyl product supplier. They offer top quality material to build a fence or a deck that won't rot, fade, or fall apart. If you need a skilled contractor to take care of the job or prefer a DIY approach, they can set you up with everything you need. Canadian owned and operated, locations in Calgary and at Edmonton. Visit them today online at dlrvinylproducts.ca. Big guy.
So Patrick Alvin's the GM of the Vancouver Canucks, and he's trying to figure out how to unlock Elias Pettersson. And it's been, tough. The last year and a half for him, for Pettersson, has been really, really rough, and I guess indirectly for their general manager. So Alvin was talking the other day, and he spoke that, one of the things when they get into their year-end meetings that they may do is suggest that Pedersen stays in Vancouver so they can help him, and then in hyphenated monitor his off-season program to stay in shape. So, or to get in shape. Now, you can't force a player to do that. You can ask them to do that. But if they're asking you, they're not sure if you're going to doing the right program, how you're working out. They want to be on top of it. So it's a pretty bold statement without really saying it that, hey man, we want to watch you and babysit you and make sure you're getting in shape. Now, when I played for the Canucks, I had the same discussion. I went in to see Mark Crawford then in my year-end meeting, and he said, where are you going to work out? I said, I work out in Edmonton. He's like, yeah, you're in good shape, but we like you to work out here because we want you to get into the community. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we want you to be in the community and stuff. I'm like, you know what? I like working out at home. He said to me, do you like being a Vancouver Canuck? I'm like, I love it. He's like, then we'll see you June 1st. So I was back there June 1st, and I worked out and it was fine. I was in good shape, but was never my problem. There were other problems, but that wasn't it. So it's a little bit different. They want you to be in the community, but for this to have a player making $11 million and you're asking/telling them to be in Vancouver, that's a tough one to sell for me if you're a teammate of him or the GM or coach.
Well, even tougher when he's a European player. So it's not like he's leaving Edmonton to go to Vancouver and he can fly back every weekend if you want. So you're leaving all your family and friends behind. I've been the same thing to Struds in Pittsburgh. They also had that strong suggestion. You come in for the summer, and it was truly because I was in terrible shape. So it was a good move on the Penguins. But the biggest thing that I've heard, and I don't know anything between him and JT Miller, was the type of shape that he came in. And you're going to be an $11 million player. You got to lead by example. So I'm not sure that the drama is over in Vancouver yet, just because they traded JT Miller away. It might just be starting again.
So here's the thing for me. I don't like this at all. You put all your eggs in this guy's basket when you traded JT Miller and you made the decision this is going to be your guy. And then the first significant thing you do is give him a public ultimatum to sacrifice time with family and friends after a long season to show that you care enough and are dedicated enough to stay in Vancouver and have a good season next year by staying back here. I don't care if they go behind the scenes and say, look, we think you need to be here. That's fine. To say this publicly and let everybody know that that's what you want them to do, I think it's a big mistake with a guy that you got a lot of eggs in this basket, Struds. And to me, if I were his camp, his agent, his people, his family, I would be livid that this is being discussed publicly. This belonged behind the scenes.
I'm guessing that it got public because they've already done it behind the scenes and nothing's been changed.
Well, that's suggesting that things are terrible to do that. Mm-hmm. So if you've discussed it behind the scenes and it doesn't sound like he wants to stay, and then you go out publicly and say, yeah, we'd kind of like him to stay, knowing that he's not, now you're just torching the whole thing. I mean, you're just letting it all burn at that point. And they got a lot invested in this guy. Like, if you're that worried about it, then invest in a fitness guy to go spend, say, maybe that's an option. Look, we're going to have such and such fly out. We're going to put him up at a hotel. Are you good to work with our guy for a few weeks? There are other ways to do this than saying to a guy, you can't go home to your family and your people and where you're from and all that. You need to show everyone you're committed enough. There's other ways, Struds. Like this is aggressive.
I don't think, Shaugger, that Vancouver has handled any of this well this year. I think they've brought a bunch of it on, gone public a few times with things that should be taken care of in the dressing room. So this guy has not done himself any favor. I mean, yeah, 100%. Like the Vancouver Canucks got $11 million tied up in this player for 7 more years, 8 more years. You're not getting out of that contract. You know how you're not getting out of it? By telling the world the guy doesn't want to stay in town and work out. That's just making it even harder to move him if you wanted to do that. So I think it's a horrible move by the Canucks.
Rent Varsity says, I disagree 100% with Shaugger. Pete can go home for 1 to 2 months, then come back and work out with our guys to get into shape. $11 million, you're not willing to train in Van. That's not my point, though, Rent Varsity. I agree. Like, Go home for a couple of months, come back. Yes. Be committed. Get back early. Do it. You would love it if he were that guy and if he did that. My point is, you don't make the ask public like this. That's where the error is. Not in the idea that he should stay behind Struds. This to me is a big bogey going public with this.
I see no reason why a team should have to ask a top player to get in shape. I'll admit it. I was a complete grinder. I was, a bottom third player, but I couldn't understand when I looked across and saw our top players not in shape. I'm like, how can that? That's what, and I don't know he is or isn't. I'm just going on from what Alvin is saying and what we're hearing. So why should we have to ask him to do it? So I would be so frustrated about that if I was a teammate, but if as a GM or an owner, but they're the one who signed him. They signed him at the same time. So I hear what you're saying, Shaugger. I get it, but it's frustrating.
You know who else Struds was frustrated? JT Miller was also frustrated with Peter Pettersson. So I agree that he should have to do it. I agree that it'd be something that he should actually say, I want to come in and do it.
100%.
But it's not something. Now you made it public. Now here we are in Edmonton on a podcast talking about it. Imagine what it's like in Vancouver. It's going to explode in Vancouver again. And the problem is the Vancouver Canucks are not a good enough team to have an average Pettersson. They're just not. So they got to find a way to make him happy, or they got to find a way for someone to eat $77 million, because this is a team that was so close that is now so far away.
Just to put it in context, so the way it's in McIntyre's article, he says, indicated it might be best for the Swede to stay in Vancouver to train this off season. And the quote is, that's something we're obviously going to talk about here when the season is over and have a plan for it. We have the right resources here to help him. Listen, he has the ability to dictate the future, and I'm sure he wants to come back to his normal form and wants to continue to grow and be better. So we have absolutely the commitment and resources here to help him do that. So not a direct quote saying we want him here, but it sounds like that is how he answered a question about him potentially staying in Vancouver for the offseason. Oh boy, what they don't need out there is any more drama. We have some annoyance here on the stream that we're talking so much Canucks, which is disrespectful to a favorite on the show, Blomsky, the Blominator. We have a minimum amount of Canucks talk we have to do as part of Blomsky still being part of the show. So that was Struddy's World, Vancouver Canucks edition for you, Blommer. Brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. All right, roll the fun music. Let's get to brownie points. Courtesy our good friends over at Hamel's Premium Jerky. Did you know the ultimate game day snacks, Canadian owned and operated? Open in 62. Great local business, family business right here in Alberta. They got a great April special on, $97 for 3 pounds of jerky, and as always, free shipping Alberta-wide. Also going to enter you into a draw at the end of the month for a little Got Your Back merch if you buy that April special. Visit albertajerky.com to see some more. All right, Brownie, have at it, buddy.
Well, I'm going to start with a young man that both Struds and I know quite well. I'm going to give 63 brownie points to San Jose Sharks' Zach Ostapchuk. He's a kid that I had here in St. Albert at our sports academy. Struds and I had him at NAX. Kids from St. Albert. He's playing in his hometown. You got to give credit to the San Jose Sharks coaching staff. They have him taking the opening face-off against Connor McDavid. Like, seriously, what a thrill that is. He's got all his buddies in the stands, family in the stands. He's out there for the national anthem, and then he's taking a draw against Connor McDavid. I thought Ostapchuk had a fantastic game for the Sharks tonight. I really noticed him tonight. I got 2 big brownie points to Calvin Pickard for the 2 big saves he made at the end of that hockey game. The San Jose Sharks controlled play. When they had the 6-on-5, they moved the puck around and had a number of good looks, none better than backdoor, not just 1, but 2. They got the backdoor pass. He kicks his save out, or his leg out, gets the save, then the rebound. So Calvin Pickard did not have a busy night, but the Oilers' inability that they've had all season long to stretch a lead allowed a San Jose Shark team to pull their goalie, and Pickard had to make 2 big saves. So good on Calvin Pickard, and that's why we're talking about him possibly playing Game 83. This goes on to what Struzzy, I could hear you guys talking about the scoreboard tonight. I got 80 brownie points to the Calgary Flames. In a must-win game tonight, the Flames knock off the Minnesota Wild. Are they in the playoffs? No, but they live to fight another day. They get to go to game 80 with an opportunity to still be in the playoffs. So good on the Calgary Flames. I honestly, I know that this is an Oilers stream. I hope the Flames make the playoff. I think it's way much more fun here in Edmonton and in Alberta. I got six brownie points to the Edmonton Oilers, who have clinched a playoff spot for the 6th straight year. This playoff spot was clinched on October 9th. They were going to make the team or make the playoffs. The one thing that I always remember what Ken Holland said when he became an Oilers GM, that making the playoffs consistently, that's what you want to do. That's what your goal should be, because if you do it year after year after year, it just raises your chances of that one season where you catch lightning in a bottle, where you get the bounces, you get the good health, you get the good goaltending, and then you win a Stanley Cup. I've been doing this for 19 years for the Oilers. I know seasons when they don't make the playoffs. 6 seasons in a row doesn't seem much when it's Connor and Leon, but this is a team going in the right direction. So good for them. Maybe this is the season to catch lightning in a bottle. And the final one, I got one gigantic brownie point. And I talked about him the other day, but tonight was the night that Avs captain Gabriel Landeskog played his first hockey game since hoisting a Stanley Cup over his head 3 years ago. He played in the minors in the AHL. After the game, he said his knee felt great. I really, really hope that we see Landeskog play in the playoffs for the Colorado Avalanche. That is a real feel-good story. And those tonight are brownie points.
All right. I love that last one, Struddy. That last one, that was a moment, boy.
Yeah, it sure was. And it's good for him. If you've been watching some of those videos, it's just heart-wrenching. He wants to help his team so much. I know it sounds like it went well tonight. One more point, though. I love that your Ostapchuk did start, and beside him was Gregor. Noah Gregor also started. So
another Edmonton guy.
Boys. I love that.
Yeah.
I love them teams did that. I thought it was fantastic.
Well, it's funny, Struds. I played on teams where the coach, like, you could be a healthy scratch 9 straight games. You go to your hometown, you're playing.
100%.
And I've also seen jerk coaches that on purpose would sit guys out in their own hometown. And you wonder which ones had the longer shelf life as a coach. I thought it was a great thing for the coach to do that tonight, starting a couple Edmonton boys in Edmonton in the starting lineup. That will certainly win over favor with the coaching staff and the players as they move forward and try to become a relevant team in this league.
Mm-hmm. Quite a drive to the net that Noah Gregor had there through Evan Bouchard. Now, look, he scored a nice goal. Is it just me, though, or is that one particular thing happening a little more than you would like, Struds, to the point where it's kind of becoming, I don't know if habit is the right way to say it, but he is getting walked regularly wide.
Yeah, it's concerning, obviously. I don't know if he's not, as a team man, you got to anticipate what the guy's speed's going to be like. And I feel like he is surprised by it. And then by the time that he realizes it's time to react, he goes by, because he can skate fast. This isn't a thing that he's slow, but it's like he's surprised by these guys, and he should know these players and what their ability to find another gear is.
Well, you rarely see defensemen get walked one-on-one. You don't, unless it's Connor coming down on you. You rarely see it, but in the last few games, it's third and fourth line guys that have walked Evan Bouchard. And to me, if I'm a team that's pre-scouting, if I'm the LA Kings in the first round or Vegas in the second round, every time I tell my players, you have a one-on-one. If you're going down on Evan Bouchard, try him. And who knows? Maybe it's a big moment in a hockey game. But yeah, it is a little bit concerning that a National Hockey League defenseman gets walked one-on-one as many times as he has.
Yeah, he knows how to play a one-on-one properly. We've seen him do it lots of times. Mm-hmm. It's almost playoff time. Buckle it down. Get the details going. That's one detail that he just doesn't seem to be paying enough attention to. And, it doesn't happen to him when he's playing well, but it's just tighten it up. He needs to tighten that up for sure. Brownie Points brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Brownie, we'll see you tomorrow, bud. I can't wait.
I can't wait. So we're still meeting. We're meeting in the afternoon at 2:00 to go over all the fun stuff that we're going to do at Struds. And actually, you said you're going to teach me Settlers of Catan in the afternoon so that we can kick Struds' ass. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. The pre-party is going to be probably as good and certainly more organized than the actual party.
Yeah.
Well, I did read the itinerary today. I appreciate the pre-party itinerary. I got it all down. I talked to Holly. She is all in with the 15-minute increments that you have. So we're all excited by it.
Yeah, I think it's great. You guys enjoy it. Just check your inboxes for the itinerary for the evening. It'll blow you away. Don't bring Catan with us. Don't bring Catan.
We'll be Catan out by the time we get there. Okay, Brownie, have a good early morning. We'll see you tomorrow night, buddy.
Sounds good. Night, guys.
All right, that is Rob Brown. We're going to keep rolling right along here and get to our Core Blue Liners segment, brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, HSE Core has your back when it comes to health and safety compliance. From creating and managing a tailored health and safety program meeting all legislative and core requirements, they support their client operations every step of the way. The website is www.hsecor.com. Struds, who are we taking a close look at tonight?
Well, I think it was a D-man that Leafs fans really are hoping would have a good career, and he's doing okay. Timothy Lindgren. Unfortunately, he's not with the Leafs. He's with San Jose Sharks. Decent, average-sized player, decent skater, smart. Gets around, runs the power play for the most part. Doesn't kill a lot of penalties. Tries to be physical. I don't think he's the strongest human being. He tries to be physical. Yeah. I noticed today he was getting. He was pushing on guys and they're really not moving. Now he's kind of containing them, but he's not that brick house that's throwing guys around like a Radko Gudas. So that's a bit of a concern I have for him. But it's interesting. He runs their power play now, but Jake Wallman would run it before. He dominated the number of minutes Jake Wallman had there, and now Lindgren's getting more time with him. So he's a good D man. I don't see him as a top pairing D, maybe a 4. A little bit of a smallish 4 on a team. And, he's paid as such, right? He's paid, he's like $3 million or something, Shaugger, but I don't see him as a top pairing defenseman. So sorry, all the Shark fans are on the stream tonight.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. He is not a fit in that situation on this team right now. He most certainly is. Bigger picture thought here, Struds, as we got to look at the, a young Sharks team. We'll see him one more time before the end of the regular season. They blew the doors off. They have 6 or 7 goals the other night. You can see the makings of some pretty snappy offensive chemistry that's building. Like there's something building slowly here with this team. I know they're right at the bottom of the standings, another potential number 1 overall pick coming up here, but Celebrini, Smith, Ekholm, these guys snapping it around. Like if you squint hard, can you see something developing?
You can. I think there's something up front. The guys you highlighted are there. The back end needs a lot of work. I just don't see it right now. Now some of them are youngish, but like Vlasic, a hell of a career, but it's over, right? Jan Ruda is an older guy. At this point, he's the bottom 4, 5, 6, probably a 5, 6. Jack Thompson, mostly a young guy that plays in the minors. Carlson, same thing. Lilligren, again, I think he's maybe a 5, 4 or 5, somewhere in there. And then Thrun, the other one, is youngish, but I don't see him as a top pairing. So I'm sure there are others coming, but the good thing is they have 4 first-round picks in the next 2 years. Unfortunately, those are going to take a while to get going, or they can maybe trade, but they need to shore up that back end to give those forwards a chance, kind of like we saw Utah do.
Yeah. And I think at a certain point in the conversation, you got all these nice forwards. You got to get guys that can get them the puck. Like you need to have good puck moving, offensive minded puck movers that can move it north south and put it on tape to tape passes for these skilled forwards. All right, that was our HSE Core Blue Liners, brought to you by HSE Core Services. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a couple of laps around the league and ask us anything. Get your comments in on the stream. Zuby is grabbing them. We'll wrap up the poll as well. Stay with us. We'll be right back on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
If you're considering a vinyl fence, don't be fooled by cheap marketplace imitations. Get top quality vinyl fence from a trusted company with 20 years in the industry. With locations in Calgary and Edmonton, check out dlrvinylproducts.ca.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
All right, time to take a quick couple of laps, brought to you by Ekholm. If you're a skilled tradesperson or construction professional looking for work in Western Canada, they want to hear from you. Send your resume to them. Trades@ekholm.com is the email address. That is trades@ekholm.com. Looking for skilled tradespeople and construction professionals to join one of Canada's original industrial contractors, where they're building some of the largest multi-year industrial projects in Western Canada. Once again, that's trades@ekholm.com. All right, Struddy, what do we got tonight, buddy?
Well, let's take a look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're not the only team, we're not covering the only team that only may have to play with 5D at times. The Toronto Maple Leafs, it sounds like they're going to go with only 5D men tomorrow night as well, 12 and 5. Salary cap constraints are restraining them, but they have Ulrich von Larsen, who is unable to play, and it sounds like McCabe won't play either. So they'll roll out with Riley, Carlo, Benoit, Tanev, and Myers. And Myers doesn't play a ton. So those other four are going to play a ton against the Habs in a game the Habs are trying to lock down the final playoff spot in the East.
Struds, is it an increased injury risk when you have 5 defensemen in the lineup and you're having to... I mean, I know the top end guys are used to taking big minutes and it's, not that unusual, but this late in the season, when you land in this spot, it's not ideal. Is it an injury risk?
Brownie talked earlier about tweaking something, and I understand it, but I don't know. I took those breaks and I loved it. I always felt better when I came back. Now I didn't play at 25, 30 minutes, so maybe there's something to that. But when you're out on the ice more often, there's a higher chance you can get hurt. That's just so you can't get hurt sitting on the bench. Trust me. So what happens is if you get a guy who's not used to playing it, let's say a guy who's playing 15 now plays 22, 23, and he gets tired and he kind of lets his guard down, that's when injury can happen. And not from dirty play, just, you're just not ready for a hit because you're tired. And I know from experience, if I played 15 to 16, that was pretty good. You get me up around 20 or north of that, the big guys started getting tired at the end of the game. So yes, that is where the injury comes down, where you just are a little bit run down, and then you maybe just don't move quick enough and someone clips you, and that's where it can happen. So
all right,
fair point. And then the Minnesota Wild, they've been cap hell with the buyout of Suter and Parisi, but they're getting some young players back, adding young players in, and they have one coming from NCAA, Zev Bium. You might want to help double check that name.
But, I believe it's Zev Bium. I think,
so
if I
he's
said that
coming
right.
up.
Or maybe it's Zev.
Zev, yeah. So he's coming up. Billy Guerin talked about it. So he'll play soon. They'll get him sorted out, but they're excited about it. And he goes, these types of players, these young guys are different now. And that means he will play. And they're excited to get him in the lineup.
Interesting. Young guy, 19 years of age, 6 foot, 185 pounds. He's their 12th overall pick from this most recent draft. 48 points in 41 games at the University of Denver. Had 50 points last year at the University of Denver as well. What do you think, Struds? I think it's a whole different kettle of fish to bring in defensemen this age as opposed to forwards. To me, it's a lot tougher to integrate a guy at this level at that position.
It is. I do think, though, I don't know how much. I don't think they're going to lean on this guy to bang out 20 minutes. I might be wrong. But I do think it's important to get their beaks wet as you, just so they know what it's like, because it's unlike anything else. It's so easy to play in the NHL and yet so hard. It's easy because everyone does their job. It's hard because everyone expects you to do your job perfectly every night. And that's where the challenge is. If you're not in the right place, it's on you. There's no like, well, Shaugger should have saved you. No, your job is this. This is your job. So I think that's the challenge. Everyone's just so big and fast. But I think getting him in the lineup, I like getting the beak wet, even though they are fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not like the games aren't massive and the pressure isn't pretty high. So, yeah, but Billy Guerin knows what he's doing and knows talent when he sees it. And all indications are Zeev Boyum is going to be a heck of a good young player. And looks like we'll get a chance to see him. All right, that was Taking a Couple of Laps, brought to you by our friends over at Ekholm. Zuby, why don't you hop in here, buddy, and we will wrap up our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll, my friend.
All right. The question tonight was, if round 1 is Oilers versus Kings, what do you think the result is? Oilers in 6 or 7, 53% of the vote. Oilers in 4 or 5, 21%. So still a very confident group, certainly as it relates to this first round matchup. Kings in 6 or 7, 18%. Kings in 4 or 5, only 5%. There was a good comment here that I was going to get to. Abby Hoffman says, not concerned with this team winning on the road. They'll get a split in LA in the first 2 games. And I think when you were gone for a second, Shaugger, we just talked about, will that be even more important with this setup, with how the Oilers injuries, goaltending question possibly, and how good the Kings have been at home?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. The Kings' record at home, they've just been murderers at home this season. Now, with that said, they're sub 500 on the road, which is not ideal. But a confident team on home ice for sure. Okay, let's get to some of those questions. Zuby, Ask Us Anything, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. Founded in 1976, they're a full-line distributor providing quality wholesale electrical products for use in industrial, commercial, and residential settings. Proudly owned and operated in Edmonton. Visit bjelectric.ca.
On the goaltending front here, a couple of comments, and then I'll throw it to you guys. Bobo Fett feels more consistency in Pickard's game right now. Crowbar 555555 says, I'd go with Skinner on an extremely short leash. Tango feels like the team plays better in front of Pickard. And CQ, I'll get to the question here. CQ says they're going to play both guys, and it should be that Picks is doing well and stick with the momentum. So let's make the question this. What do you think the odds are of both goaltenders getting a start in the first round? Let's make it that the question, Struddy.
Whew. What's higher than 100%?
Really?
Yeah, I think they both get a start that first round. I really do. I've got a feeling that Pick starts game 1. I think he's going to be in there game 1, man.
Yeah, well, you are the goaltending whisperer on this show, Struds. For years now, you've been nailing your goaltending predictions from the very start. I don't know that you're entirely out to lunch on that one. Percentage chance that both guys see action in the first round. I mean, if you believe that the Oilers are going to beat the LA Kings, which I do, this is the thing, Struds. Do you make the change? Like if Skinner has an off game in game 1, are you making the change? Boom, is that it? Or do you make the change when you feel like, okay, he might not have it, got to go to the other guy and be willing to ride Pickard as long as he continues to win, right? When they made the change against the Vancouver Canucks, I think they always had the intention to get back to Skinner, right? I think they always had that intention. So how short should that leash actually be? I'm going to put it at maybe 55% that both goalies see action, because I don't know that they're going to be that fast twitch on a change just if they lose a game in the first round.
So I think that's why you start with Pickard, because you start there and he gets going, and then if it doesn't go well, Skinner can be the hero, come in, settle in, and do what he needs to do. And mentally, I think it's a different place. And also,
aren't you also in a different? aren't you also in a different place mentally if you got overlooked for the start of the playoffs? Like, where's Skinner's head at?
Well, I have no idea where his head is right now, but I know where his game has been, and it's not the level he wants it to be. So I feel more comfortable having this conversation even after Sunday night's game. If he's great Sunday night, okay, then he probably starts game one. If he isn't where the level that we know he can be at, I think the conversation gets a little bit messier.
Oh boy.
Buddy Hope, continuing on this thought, says, so they are doing what Struddy said to do. They're giving Skinner more time to work on his play rather than getting in games, as he's been, he backs up tonight. More practice. You advocated for that earlier in the season, Struddy. Do you like the path they've taken to bring Skinner back here? Do you think it's the best path to give him the best chance to reclaim that spot outright?
Well, they continue to try to play him. I didn't see him getting his form back, right? So this is another alternative, is to back it off. And the injury didn't. Like I said, I talked to a goalie coach who said he thinks this will be a perfect reset for Skinner, mentally, physically, and technical wise. So let's see. We are, 20 some hours away from finding out?
Yeah, I don't know.
40 hours.
We got into it a little bit the other day over this. I mean, goaltending coaches love it when guys get like lots of time to just practice and play games, right? Or just practice and get refined and all that. Like, meanwhile, the other guy is playing and winning games. Like, the other guy's just in there grinding, playing games and winning games. So I don't know. It feels like it's been a few times this year where it's been like he just needs some practice time to find his game. Like, at a certain point, a guy just needs to be the starting goalie and put up starting goalie numbers and play excellent for a long period of time and solidify the job, Struds. Like, at a certain point, you need the guy to do that. And this guy hasn't done that this season.
So then how do you suggest you try to find that? Like, that's what I'm looking for, a solution here. Like, just continuing to play him wasn't working. So back it off and, maybe an injury, and then like, you got to try to keep working. You can't just give up on a guy. So there's only two ways. You keep playing him, or you back him off and practice him. I don't know any other way. Or an injury. I guess injury is the third way. So we're getting option 2 and 3 right now, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, the injury came at a tough time. Like, he was trying to work his way back, and there had been some good play in there. And the injury came at a tough time. When Stuart Skinner's ready to play, get him playing games. And I don't think this is a zone where you're holding him out of games to give him more practice time, to let him find. There's no season left, and they got a decision to make. Get him into games, let him find his game, get him going. So we don't have all the information. I was really surprised he didn't play in this game tonight. I was really surprised from this morning on that he didn't start. But we'll see how he does when he gets back in. And generally, he comes out of these breaks in pretty good command of his game. So I'll probably be eating my words, because there's a very good chance he comes back and looks good in a couple of these games, and good for him if he does.
Mike Materi says, no hitting all year to be healthy in the playoffs angered the hockey gods. It's cheating. Shaugger, of course, I guess there's not really a question there. We know that that's not, but it does seem like, they were pushing the intensity and the hitting down the road. It's all going to come, and the switch will be flipped. And then this is the place they find themselves in. Let me just add on to that. There was some discussion about how careful. Here's Crowbar says, just hoping they're being reasonably cautious with Frederick and overly cautious with all the other injured. There was another comment too that said, let me add this on. It's getting concerning. 3 different players come back just to immediately retweak what they had before. I won't get into conversations about the medical staff, because I wouldn't know enough about that. But is the load management not working? Did these guys come back too soon? Are they just what's the big picture of what's happened, or is it just bad luck?
Yeah, I think that, I'm not going to get into criticizing medical staffs and stuff. Like these guys, they work hard. They are professionals. I think it's tough luck. Like Struds with a high ankle sprain, you work it back, It's never going to feel great. And when you finally feel like you're good to go, I mean, if you're waiting for a guarantee that nothing bad is going to happen, you might as well wait till next Christmas with a high ankle sprain. So I don't know about that. Ekholm today, it was weird. Came out on the ice and slipped and fell, and I don't know what the heck happened with him there. So I don't agree that there needs to be, you know, a bunch of criticism here. I just think Struds, there's some tough luck happening right now.
Yeah, I think it's bad luck. I do. I mean, because you're right. I mean, some injuries you're like, okay, I think I can play through this, and you give it a break, and you come back and you tweak it. Yeah. Others you don't. Like I remember I hurt my back really bad one time, and my back was really messed up. First game back, I'm like, I'm gonna fight as soon as I can to find out if my back's okay. And I fought, I think, in the second period. And I was fine, and I just kept going from there. And I came back from other shoulder injuries and all that kind of stuff. And but you know, maybe the soft tissue is a little bit harder to figure it out. I never had groin or those types of problems, right? What do you call it? What did Kane have? The sports hernias. I never had those.
The one I'll raise my eyebrow at a little bit, and I think they'd admit in hindsight, when Leon Draisaitl hurt himself late in a game that was basically out of hand, and you could see him on the bench looking banged up, and then they ran him to the total of like 22 plus minutes chasing that 50th goal, and then he ended up missing time after that. That's the one where I would say, okay, review the process, and maybe everybody needed to err a little bit more on the side of caution there, because the big guy was clearly feeling it on the bench, and then they played him a pile of minutes chasing those goals. So, I mean, you know, you want to, if you have a complete do-over, you err on the side of caution there, Struds. The minute that guy feels something, you go, look, Leon, I know you're at 49, but zero risk tolerance at this point.
Yeah, I think it's hard to pull a guy like that off too. Leon, we don't want you to play. No, I want to keep playing. No, I want you to stop. No, I'm playing. Okay. He plays. Like he knows his body. This isn't a 20-year-old, right? This is a guy that understands and knows his body. So I think that's a hard conversation to have. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's his hamstring that tweaked him there. He looked like he was skating decently. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that honestly, this whole thing, I'll finish with this. Two things. I think it's a run of bad luck. And two, they're devastated by injuries. And if they don't get healthy, it's going to be a very difficult playoff run. Not run, maybe round.
Yeah, agree on both counts. Zuby, let's do two more, buddy. We're getting late.
Okay, let's do this. There was just some chatter about this, but let's assume that Mattias Ekholm is the one who maybe isn't ready to go game one. So a couple people were sort of talking about pairings. So what are your pairings, D pairings, for game one of the playoffs if Ekholm can't go?
The top four and the other two. And the top four each play 25 minutes. That's what it is. So I don't know. I honestly, what it'll be, yeah. I mean, they tried really hard with Wallman and Bouchard.
No, I didn't love the look of that. Did you just go Bouchard and Nurse?
Yeah, probably. Then Kulak and Wallman play with the other two guys. But I'm telling you guys, those four will play a ton of minutes. Like Nurse could be 25 to 30 minutes if Ekholm's not playing in game one.
Yikes.
And Kulak will be 20, 24, 25, I bet.
Yeah.
Okay, non-Oilers one here for the last to throw Struddy a grenade here. Dallas Scarlet says the Leafs have consistently been making the playoffs. What do they need to do to become a contender and not a pretender? Let's just cut. They eventually have to make a deep run, right? Let's put it this way. Is this the year? Is there anything more for the Leafs than getting past the first round this year? The team is similar, but Berube is different. The attitude seems a little bit different. Can they make some noise this year, Struddy?
So it's a way they play. So I watched the other night some of that Florida, Leafs Tampa game. And they came out and they played hard. And in the first two goals, they created those goals by putting pressure on Tampa. And that's how you have to play by back checking. They created the back checking pressure, and that's how they got those two goals. So I think that is something they have to do. They have to, manage the puck, get in block shots, all those types of things that Florida and Tampa have done for the last, feels like 10 years. So they need to win rounds. No one will care if they finish first in that division if they lose in the first round.
All right, that was Ask Us Anything, a lively edition brought to you by BJ Electric. Thank you for all of your submissions, everybody. We appreciate the contributions, as always. Let's wrap it up with our Gallery Dental Play of the Day, offering a full range of services designed to keep your smile healthy. Their experienced team providing personalized care with the latest technology to make sure you get the best treatment possible. Contact Gallery Dental YEG.com. Struds, what are we doing for a play of the day?
Yeah, so Brownie highlighted the fact about Gabe Landeskog and playing in the AHL. But what I loved about it is that many of his teammates came to watch him. So Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Josh Manson, a former teammate, Andrew Calaglano, now turned management for them, and their general manager, Chris McFarland. Those are the ones that I know of for sure, but I'm sure there was others. So that tells you what they think of their kind of battling captain to get back. So great moment.
Love the fact that he hopped on the microphone as well after the game, talked to the fans in the building, said his knee felt great. I think he played 15 plus minutes, I think is what I thought I saw that online there. So pretty amazing. And
5 minutes, 5 shifts of period. Exactly. That was the plan. 5 shifts of period. And then we'll see how it feels tomorrow.
Yeah. That'll make a pretty, because there's clearly a camera crew following him around. There has been.
Yeah.
Because we've seen some of this behind the scenes footage. That I don't know where he's going to get to, but that game alone will be a pretty incredible moment in whatever documentary they produce about Gabe Landeskog and his return. That's an awesome play of the day brought to you by Gallery Dental. All right, boys. Good show. Struds, we will see you tomorrow night. Looking forward to it. Zuby, get your time zones sorted out, and we'll check back in with you on Sunday night, pal.
Sounds good. I'm FaceTiming into this party tomorrow. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to see you on Sunday.
Yeah.
Once it gets to karaoke, call me in. I'll have something prepared.
Is that on the that's on the docket, Struts? The karaoke tomorrow?
I don't want to ruin the surprise.
Full report coming your way on Sunday night. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody, and thanks to our amazing sponsors, including our title sponsor, Play Alberta. We'll see you soon.